Yes guys, welcome back to the vlogs. Gonna probably go back to doing one a week. I know we've all got used to my one a day during peak week, but now I'm back at work, I just don't think that's feasible. I will try and film and get as much content as I can, because obviously we're getting into the fun part of the process. I'm currently in my reverse diet stage. It is 1 week and 1 day post show, which if you haven't been following my videos, my vlogs, my Instagram, whatever, I competed for the first time last weekend at the UKDFBA Open UK Championships, and it was absolutely incredible. Obviously I'm going to go into what happened over the weekend, sort of how I felt over the weekend, all that stuff in this video. But to begin with, I just want to thank everybody that got me there and was there for me over the weekend. First off, to the I think 50 plus messages I received leading up to, across the weekend and after the weekend, wishing me good luck and all the rest of it from everyone that sent me messages. Thank you. I appreciate every single one of you. It took me a while to get back to everyone, but made sure I did. I want to thank Cam McKay, my coach, for the last 12 months. How he's literally helped me turn my life around, and the progress we've made in that short time. From, I mean, if you watch the end of my last vlog, my show day vlog, you'll see my 12-month transformation, where I'd put on a bit of muscle, obviously, over the 7 years I've trained, but obviously my posing was crap, as I was very new to actually posing. I had the muscle, but I was very out of shape and holding on to a lot of body fat. And obviously I signed up with Cam, I think I was already 2 months into what I was calling my off season back then, as I knew I wanted to compete this year, but obviously just hadn't got around to getting a coach yet. And I'd put on maybe 10 kilos, and maybe 10% of that was probably muscle. I was holding on to a lot of body fat. So obviously got Cam, did a maintenance phase, started pushing my calories, and gained a lot of tissue in that time. And then obviously you'll see the transformation to show day, where I look like a completely different person. And if we can do that in just my first season, in my first 12 months, just think about what we're going to do in the next 12 months. And then the 12 months after that, and we're just going to keep getting bigger, better, sharper every time we do this. I want to thank A1 Tanning. First time I've ever actually had a full tan in my life, besides the usual 3 days of summer we get where I get sunburnt arms. And I'm absolutely gutted that I have to go back to being pale again, which I don't actually plan on staying pale. I do need to find a way of keeping myself with a little bit of colour in, at least going into the winter months, because I genuinely felt better in myself with a tan. So I'm going to try and keep on top of that the best I can. Also want to thank the UKDFBA, obviously, for putting on an absolutely great event. For my first show, it was just phenomenal. I was obviously quite nervous, but the people there working there, that are there to sort of guide you and sort of tell you what to do, definitely put my nerves at rest. And I want to thank Christian, who is my posing coach and also a head judge for the UKDFBA. Without his help, I mean, my posing needs a lot of work still, and I know that going into this off season. But thank you so much for the pointers and the tips you give me in the few sort of online classes we had together. Definitely learnt a lot, and something I can practice going forward. But something I didn't do my last off season was pose. I did obviously pose for my check-ins, but I didn't practice half as much as I should have, because I don't know, maybe it was a thing of in my head, because I wasn't lean. I felt like it wasn't worth doing, but now that I know and I've done that process, that it matters just as much in the off season as it does in prep. Don't wait till you get lean and you can start seeing your muscles to learn how to pose. Just do it. Start right now. Just get into the groove of doing it. And obviously I was posing every day over prep, and I'm following that on into my off season, and by this time next year my posing will be 100 times better than it was. I found myself posing up and towards the crowd as opposed to down towards the judges, so when I did see my stage shots, as happy as I am with them, and I've got them memories now of being on stage, it definitely showed me what I need to work on, and one of them is posing towards the judges. Just had to pause recording slightly as my flatmate just woke up and came in, but he's gone to the shop, so I'm going to carry on. I thought I lost my train of thought with what I was talking about, but yeah, going into my off season, posing is going to be practiced daily still. I'm not going to slack off in that aspect, and I'm going to have obviously more posing lessons with Christian as the months go on, and hopefully a couple of trips down to Flex and Tone, the gym he trains at, for some in-person ones in Salford, Manchester, which not only do I get a day out and get to go and train at what looks like an awesome gym, obviously in-person posing lessons are a lot better than online. I also want to thank my parents for all the support they've given me in this little bodybuilding dream of mine. I can't thank them enough for everything they've done for me, being patient with me when I've been in prep and I've been a moody little bastard, obviously helping me out financially in some spots where needed, as I will go through in another video the costs of prep and competing. It's not cheap for what you get back. I mean, well, you get nothing back, apart from if you win you get a trophy and a medal. But yeah, it's not something you see instant returns on. You have to work it very hard for quite a few years before you start seeing that sort of return, but that is the plan. I obviously, as I've said in my last vlog, my plan is to get my pro card within the next couple of years, and that's when you sort of start seeing that little bit back from it. Alongside, obviously, I've just yesterday got back into my studying, started my PT sort of coaching courses through Origin last year, but due to being on prep, changing jobs during prep and overall life bullshittery, I did put it on the back burner just so I could focus on my bodybuilding and make sure that I was putting 100% effort into that. But now that I'm going back into the off season, my food's going back up, my energy levels are back up, and my fatigue isn't half of what it has been. I'm back into it. I managed, I think it was like 2.5 hours I ended up studying for yesterday, and just like when I was doing it the first time, I feel so accomplished when I get a good bit of studying done. I'm, I think, 70% way through my level 2, which I'm hoping to easily have cracked off in the next few months by the end of the year, and it's on to my level 3, which, if I stay locked in with it, I hope to have completed and passed by, I'm giving myself till like the start of summer next year, so that gives me a good 5 months to crack that off from the start of the year. And then I've still got my level 4 advanced nutrition to do after that, but at least once I get my level 3, I can start working in gyms, which isn't really the path I want to go down, but some gym floor experience will be great. As I'm wanting to go into online coaching, I could start online coaching now. A lot of people do it without qualifications, but I want to make sure I've got that back in. And obviously, if you're looking for a coach, you'd want them to be qualified in what they do, as I see a lot of people do a show and then all of a sudden they're qualified to tell other people how to do it. Obviously, some of them see success in that and they may not need the qualifications, and I know I'm knowledgeable in it, in what I'm doing and sort of quite a lot of aspects in bodybuilding, but I still want that sort of, not safety net, but that thing behind me of like, yeah, I've done the work, I've got the qualifications, I am trusted, I do know what I'm talking about. And yeah, that's going to be the plan for the next 12 months. If it isn't bodybuilding, work, like my actual job, studying, or anything that isn't aligned to my goals, I'm just not interested anymore. I mean, I've been a bit of a recluse in that way for the past 12 to 18 months, but when you've got a goal and you've got something you want to spend the rest of your life doing, or at least a very big portion of your life, you have to drop all the stuff that doesn't aid that goal, and all this other stuff is just distractions. And I am quite happy, and I mean, I'm probably at my happiest in solitude when I know everything I'm doing in solitude is getting me towards where I want to be in life. And if I'm off, I could be off partying or going out, like, hey, do you want a drink? Yeah, I'll come out, but then that just sets you back a few days or even a week, and you end up then snowballing, and just life starts getting in the way, and then all of a sudden it's 6 months down the line and you've stopped chasing your goals. But I'm not allowing that to happen to me. I am 100% locked into what I'm doing, and I will continue to do everything I can to make my dreams a reality. This past week has been a reverse diet phase, and so far so good. Calories obviously crept up to around maintenance, and that's what's giving me my energy back and dropped the fatigue. I was going to do a full day of eating video today, but I woke up this morning feeling a bit, not under the weather, just a bit crap, which I'll explain in a minute. So I just got my meals in. Well, I got my meal one in, my pre-workout meal, got to the gym, had a really good chest and back session, to be honest. And yeah, I'm going to do the reverse diet full day of eating in another video. I decided to, well, my coach said in my check-in last week I can now implement my one off-plan meal per week back in. And I wasn't going to, but Friday night my flatmate turned round at about 7 PM and said, I fancy a takeaway. Would you fancy one? And I was like, you know what? I haven't had a takeaway in months, and it's been even longer than that since me and my flatmate have just sort of got a takeaway, watched TV, and just had a bit of a chill. I was like, yeah, why not? We decided on the kebab shop about 5 minutes away from ours, which I was just craving. As soon as he said takeaway, I was just craving a burger, and that's the only place that actually does them. Didn't really want to go there, as the last time I ate there, and I'm pretty sure the time before, I got food poisoning and was very sick. But I do this every time, every like 6 to 12 months. I think, well, it can't happen again, can it? The burger was great. I got just what did I get? A Donna burger, which was probably my first mistake. And chips and some chicken strips. Chicken strips and chips were banging, to be honest. The burger itself tasted really good, but I got about halfway through the burger, and what can only be described as concrete filled my insides. I couldn't lay back. I just had to sit upright, and I was sort of cradling my stomach for like a good half an hour. And it felt like I'd just inhaled a load of concrete. It felt like my intestines were about to just explode. My stomach was just tight and bloated, and I ended up falling asleep watching a film, to be woken up by my flatmate at the end of the film, of him going, that was pretty good, and then, you're asleep, and I was like, woke up, and I saw the half a burger, and I was like, well, I've paid for it, so I'm going to bloody eat it. And my stomach felt fine. I'd obviously had a little half-hour nap and slept it off. Had the other half of the burger, and instantly I was in pain again. Why I decided to eat the other half of the burger, I should have just left it. That was a very silly mistake to make. But then I was like, right, I'm going to go to bed. Went to the toilet, well, just for a wee before I go to bed, and I literally just puked up chunks of burger into the toilet. Sorry about the graphic imagery there. I just threw up and went back to bed. Woke up in the morning and I did not feel great. Weighed in 4 kilos on the scales from that meal. I did go to the gym, obviously straight back on plan the day after. Went to the gym. Did have an awesome workout, to be fair. Had lots of energy, got through it, and it did make me feel a lot better. Got out for steps, burnt off the rest, and by the end of the day I did feel alright, but it has absolutely destroyed my digestion. I woke up again this morning and didn't feel great. I felt very sluggish and like I just didn't want to do anything. But once again, I just stayed on plan, got my meal in, went to the gym, and I feel alright now, to be honest. I think I'm over it. Luckily, I didn't get food poisoning, but I think how I felt was probably just as bad. But luckily, I still got to the gym, still got my cardio done, still got my steps in, and just got all my usual meals. It didn't knock me out too much, but I will never ever eat there again, and it's on camera now. I will never eat that kebab shop again. And I'd recommend anyone else who lives in this area just avoid charcoal grill. We've got a Chinese, 2 Chineses within 30 seconds of it, and they are far better. Like, if I do end up having a takeaway cheat meal again over this off season, it will be probably just a Chinese with my parents, because that's a tradition we used to have. Obviously not often, but maybe once a month or something, I will have something from there, because I know it's safe, it's tasty, and I never feel bad for eating it. But yeah, that's my work so far. I woke up this morning, I was 88.4 kilos, So I'm now still 4 kilos up from show day, but I'm putting that down to either poor digestion and obviously being a little bit blocked up the last couple of days. Without going into too much detail, basically last Friday I went to go and pick my stepdad up and set off, and when I looked at maps a few days prior, it said the drive would take 2 hours 40, I believe, and then I checked when I got to their house and it said I think it was just over 4 hours because of multiple crashes on the M6. I thought, great. And it took us 4.5 hours, I believe, to get down there, to get to the hotel. Obviously checked in, got to the room. I'd specifically asked for 2 single beds as I was sharing with my stepdad for the weekend. Turned up to 1 double bed. So I went downstairs, found my manager. She said, yeah, I'll have it sorted in 5 minutes. And it took like half an hour because apparently she couldn't find a housekeeping staff and she had to do it herself. And we were in a bit of a rush as we got down there for, I think it was about 4:30, and I had tanning, my first coat of tan to get on in Leicester, which was a half-hour drive from the hotel, and I still had an upper body pump session to do. But luckily I found a gym 7 minutes down the road called No Limits, where I ended up doing 3 sessions across the weekend. Awesome little gym, just a little bodybuilder's heaven, all hammer strength, like Nitrum, Cybex equipment, stuff I've never ever used, but so glad I got the chance to. Obviously training footage had been posted on my Insta and in my show day vlog from that. I only trained my upper push session, not the leg session or the push session that followed. But yeah, really good little gym, and will definitely be training there again if I'm ever down that area. Managed to get there, 40 minutes, literally just pumped up. Got back to the hotel, drove straight to Leicester for my first coat of tan, drove back, and my tanning was booked for 7:45, and I think we got back to the hotel for like 9 o'clock-ish, and I was wiped out by this point from obviously driving a few hundred miles through the day and having to rush and do all this stuff. So we turned in, watched a bit of TV and chilled together, spent some time just chatting and having a laugh. And then Saturday morning came round and it was show day. I had to be at registration for 10 in the morning. I woke up at I think about 4:30 just to get my check-ins done and see what my food was like for the day, just so I was prepared. Got that off coach. I was lucky enough to get a bowl of oats in the morning. He told me to make it with as little water as possible. I got 300 ml water with that meal, a black coffee. It was just my usual oat bowls, just oats, protein powder, blueberries, which tasted awesome. I don't usually have oats for breakfast, but yeah, that was great. Obviously multiple posing rounds. Got there for 10. Going through registration, there was a little briefing, and then you have to go and sort of collect your number, your stage number, get signed in and all that. I got there and I weighed in 4 kilos over my weight cap for Classic, which I wasn't really happy about, but obviously I was planning to compete in Men's Open as well, so all was not lost. I was still competing. And as I was doing this, I met AJ Morris. If you don't know who he is, he's one of the best natural bodybuilders in the world, in my opinion, and I've followed him for most of my journey. Even before I really started going down the bodybuilding route, I followed him on YouTube and Instagram, and to shake his hand and say hello to him and have a little chat was absolutely awesome. Also met Adam Power over the weekend, another top natural bodybuilder. I saw him in just outside the main bit. Decided to go up and speak to him. Did see George Osborne there, who I've spoke to quite a few times on Instagram, and I was planning to have a chat with him, but he was mad busy with clients every time I sort of spotted him, so I just left him to it. He was obviously there with Wix, his girlfriend. Followed both of them, the podcast, the vlogs on YouTube, and they're always posting great content on Instagram, but I will definitely catch them at the next show. I had quite a bit of time to wait. Obviously Classic was on a bit earlier in the day, which I was now not competing in, and I think I ended up stepping on stage at around 4:30 in the afternoon, somewhere around there. So I had 4.5 hours. Basically I watched first few bits of the show in the Classic division that I was supposed to compete in, and felt like I would have done good in that lineup, I think. personally thinking. But yeah, I think I had 3 meals on the lead up to me stepping on stage, which each one was 4 rice cakes, 20 grams peanut butter, 20 grams of jam, 2 grams of pink salt, and 300 ml of water. Just obviously fast digesting carbs that don't sit heavy on the stomach, a little bit of fat. Obviously don't want to drink a lot of water because, well, you'll hold on to it and you want to come in as dry as possible, but you also need to stay that little bit hydrated. And then my pre-show snack, which my coach told me to have, was a packet of salt and vinegar crisps. Obviously for the salt content, and he said it'll give you an insane pump, which it did. When I started pumping up, I sort of blew up instantly. Was waiting backstage to step on stage, met some awesome people back there, not all competing in the same division, but met some great lads in the queue waiting up to go on stage as well. One of them's followed me on Instagram, obviously followed him back and hoping to see him on stage again next year. And if I'm ever down near Birmingham way, I'll hit him up for a session because he was an awesome lad to speak to. And definitely that's what this is all about. I want to make more friends in the natural bodybuilding scene. But we went on stage and I mean the nerves were setting in, but I was still very confident and sort of in myself. And I've been saying to someone in the gym the other day, considering 12 months ago I was scared to even do posing in the gym in case of what people may think of me. And I know other people who compete in bodybuilding, and when they've been posing in the gym, I've seen people like snigger and make remarks and stuff. And it was just something I don't know, it just put me off doing it myself. But obviously I'm at a point now where I couldn't give a fuck what people think, basically. I'm on this path and it'll take more than people turning their heads and making little remarks and laughing when you're at a gym training and posing. If they're going to be that small-minded to try and do that, then that's on them. Started to relocate into the bedroom. Flatmate came back from a shop and I was still sat here chatting away. I didn't place in the top 5, which would have been an awesome start to my bodybuilding career. But when they said the people who narrowly missed out on 5th place, they said my name first. And although we don't place people after 5th place, I don't know if that means I obviously came in 6th or obviously just close to being in the top 5. And that's funny because my medal from the day is right behind me. I am going to set up a little thing, and obviously when I do start collecting more medals and hopefully trophies in the next year's season, I can have them above where I do my work on my laptop, which is just to the left of me here, as a reminder of all the hard work that goes into it. So yeah, overall awesome experience stepping on stage for the first time. Loved every minute of it, and as nervous as I was when you're up on that stage and the lights are on you, I literally couldn't even see the crowd. Could barely even see the judges that were right in front of me, because you're just in that sort of, I don't know, tunnel vision, and you just, I mean, in my head, I was just concentrating on making sure I was hitting the poses right. Came out and did my solo round, and that was the bit I was most nervous about. 90% of it went to plan, and then at the very end of it, I messed up slightly and didn't do what I was planning to do to finish it off, basically. But it's not an issue. It's my first time out there, and I know going into next time it'll be far more improved, so it's nothing I'm going to sit and sort of worry about. Afterwards, I came off stage and I asked to obviously give my coach the lowdown of what had happened and everything, and asked him, do you mind if I have my post-show cookie? Because obviously I had my cookie dealer treats with me. I took 2 to the show, and coming off stage, going outside just to cool down and relax a little bit, obviously phoned my mum because she was back at home to let her know what was going on, and ate a peanut butter and jelly stuffed cookie, and it was probably the greatest thing I've tasted in months. It was unreal. Following that, watched a bit more of the show, but I was getting very tired by this point after the day's events, so me and my stepdad decided to go out for some food. Found a place called Pure Bliss Burgers, got house special burger with house loaded fries and some, I think they were like Korean barbecue chicken bites. Got back to the hotel, had that, and that was also absolutely amazing. I then proceeded to have, I had 6 cookies. I give 2 to my stepdad, so I had ended up having 4 cookies after show, which I didn't feel too bad after eating, to be honest. But then I also, it did sort of open the floodgates. Luckily I didn't have much else there with me, but I did end up polishing off a load more rice cakes with jam and peanut butter on. Probably about 5 cups of tea, just to sort of, I don't know, in my head it was curbing my hunger because I was having something with taste in it. And yeah, obviously just crashed out watching TV again. Woke up on a Sunday. We had plans to go and watch, obviously, day 2 of the show, where the more professional people were competing, the people that have been doing it for years, and the level of natural bodybuilding is absolutely insane. Although I am competing as a natural bodybuilder, I don't follow it half as much as I should. Because obviously I watch a lot of IFBB pros and all like that side of bodybuilding more, but the level of physiques of these guys competing on the second day was just incredible. And the guy that won it, I believe his name was Chris Drinkwater. I could be slightly wrong there, but well done to him for obviously winning it and getting his pro card. And another guy called Chris Palin, who I ended up following on Instagram afterwards, I've seen him blow up on social media in the days after the show, as he is now being regarded possibly the most shredded natural athlete to ever step on stage. But he was inside out. He had 0 skin on him, and yeah, fair play to him. Because at the body fat levels I was at, I felt shit for weeks before the show. And seeing his conditioning, which is a conditioning I aspire to in the future, I can't even imagine how he felt. So fair play to you, man. You absolutely smashed it. Not that he's probably ever going to watch this, but you know what I mean. I think that's going to be about it. I just wanted to film a little show weekend rundown, sort of what I got up to and all, how it was, and overall amazing experience. Can't wait to be back there next year. The UKDFBA's released for shows for next year. There's a few more that they didn't have this year, so I will be competing multiple times, which obviously with each show the package I present will just get better and better, and the last show of the year will be the one that I've just competed at. I am obviously going into this one with more intention. I'm going in to win my class. I want to win the overall, and obviously I'm chasing down my Natty Pro card now, so the more shows I do, the more chance I have of achieving that goal, and I'm going to put everything into this next 6-7 months of off season and my prep, now that I sort of have a better idea of my body and how things will work. I'm more prepared to go even more all in with it and bring something that I probably a couple of years ago wouldn't even think would have thought possible in natural bodybuilding, but I'm going to shock a lot of people with the progress I make, and I can't wait to present it on stage and hopefully get the dub. But before I finish this vlog, I just want to say a special thank you to my stepdad Jeff for coming down to the show with me. He has been my absolute rock through this. As I've mentioned in previous vlogs, I don't have anyone that's really into bodybuilding near me. Obviously I've got people I train with from time to time and they love training, and obviously I've got a lot of friends at the gym, but there is no one I'm friends with around here that's into bodybuilding the way I am. And my stepdad is a massive fan of bodybuilding, always has been, was the guy that got me into it, and I've never looked back since starting to watch it all them years ago. I just want to thank him for all the help, the support, the love he's shown me, the messages he sends me. He won't even know on the days where I've felt really down and a bit crap, the message pops up and it's always like this lovely message of him just giving me a bit of inspiration and motivation, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. He's helped me out so much with just stuff I need to pay for when I've been a bit tight for money and bills have gone out, etc. and I wouldn't have been able to step on stage if it wasn't for him, and I appreciate every single thing he does for me, and I can't wait to take him along on this very long journey with me. We've got plans to obviously go and watch more shows together. There's gyms I want to visit across the country, and I'm going to take him with me, because as much as I love training in the gyms, he also loves that gym environment, and he loves watching the shows. So yeah, I'm going to go and do a lot of stuff together in the coming months, which will be fantastic. But yeah, once again, thank you to everybody who's been watching, been supporting me. It's only going to get better from here. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, comment on the videos you've watched. It does help me grow the channel, and I mean, I'm going to be bringing out some even better content in the coming months. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next vlog, which will be a full day of eating on my reverse diet just before we start the greatest off season the world's ever seen. Catch you later.